2026. The most battle-tested drone in American history just lost 30 aircraft in a matter of weeks. Not to age, not to a training accident, to combat. The MQ-9 Reaper has flown over Afghanistan, over Iraq, over Yemen, and most recently, over Iran. And now, not to a training accident, to combat. And now, after almost 2 decades of service, the U.S. Air Force has confirmed something that seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. This legendary machine is being phased out, not because it failed, because the world changed faster than it could. The sacrifice and the slow farewell of one of the most important aircraft the United States has ever built. If you have ever seen footage of a drone strike on the news, there is a good chance an MQ-9 was behind it. If you respect the men and women who operate these aircraft from thousands of miles away, keeping American troops out of harm's way, you are going to want to hear this whole story. If you agree that the men and women behind these machines deserve more recognition than they get, type respect in the comments below. Let us get that message seen. Now let us go back to where this all started, because the story of the Reaper is really the story of how America changed the way it fights wars. It could stay over a target for a full 24 hours without needing to land. And unlike its predecessor, it was designed from the start to carry serious firepower, including Hellfire missiles and laser-guided bombs. Think about what that means for a moment. A single aircraft with nobody sitting inside it could watch an area for an entire day, gather intelligence, and then strike a target, all without putting one American pilot at risk. That is the kind of capability that changes how wars are fought, and it did. Over the next 2 decades, the Reaper became the backbone of American air power in the fight against terrorism. It flew missions over Afghanistan. It supported ground troops in Iraq. It tracked high-value targets across the Middle East that would have been nearly impossible to find any other way. General Atomics eventually built over 570 of these aircraft, and at its peak, the Air Force had more than 300 of them in active service. That is a massive fleet built for a very specific kind of war. But here is where the story takes a turn, and this is the part most people never hear about. Before we go further, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep telling stories like this one, and it costs you absolutely nothing. The Reaper was built for what military planners call an uncontested airspace. In simple terms, that means the enemy did not have serious air defenses. Groups like the Taliban or ISIS did not have advanced radar systems or long-range missiles capable of shooting down an aircraft flying at high altitude. The Reaper could fly slow, fly high, and stay in one place for hours, because nothing on the ground could really touch it. That is not the world we live in anymore. Nations like Russia, China, and Iran have spent the last several years building serious, modern air defense systems. The United States reportedly lost as many as 30 MQ-9 Reapers in a short period of fighting, 30 aircraft. Military analysts have valued those losses at over $1.2 billion. Let that number sit with you for a second. $1.2 billion in aircraft gone in one operation. Despite this, and this is important, Air Force leadership has not turned their back on the Reaper. In fact, Air Force Chief of Staff General Kenneth Wilsback publicly called the Reaper the most valuable player of that entire operation. Think about that. Even after heavy losses, senior military leadership still considers this aircraft one of the most important tools America has. That tells you everything about how much trust the military has placed in this platform. And honestly, it deserves that trust. For nearly 20 years, this aircraft and the skilled men and women operating it have protected American lives on the ground, day after day, mission after mission. But trust in a platform and the reality of modern warfare are 2 very different things. And that brings us to the heart of this story. Because of these losses, combined with the aircraft simply aging out over time, the Air Force's Reaper fleet has shrunk dramatically. Just a few years ago, the fleet had more than 230 aircraft. Today, that number has dropped to around 135 operational Reapers. That is a steep decline in a very short amount of time, and it puts the Air Force in a difficult position. Here's where it gets even more surprising. You would think the obvious solution is simple, just build more of them. But that is not happening. In 2025, General Atomics shut down the MQ-9, a production line, completely, after the Air Force confirmed it would no longer be purchasing new units. In other words, the factory that built one of America's most important combat aircraft for nearly 2 decades has gone quiet. There is no active line producing new Reapers for the U.S. Air Force right now. So when the Air Force went looking for replacement aircraft to cover recent losses, they ran into a serious problem. There simply were not many left to buy. General Atomics has stated that fewer than 10 new or unused MQ-9A aircraft are available anywhere in the world to any customer at this moment. The Air Force even looked into pulling old, retired Reapers out of the military's aircraft boneyard in Arizona, a place where retired planes are stored for possible reuse. But according to the most recent inventory records, there were no Reapers sitting there to bring back. This is the strange, almost ironic truth at the center of this whole story. The Air Force is retiring the Reaper on paper, planning to fully phase it out by roughly 2035, while at the very same time scrambling in real time to find enough of them just to keep current missions running. It is not a clean, planned exit. It is a slow, complicated transition happening while the aircraft is still very much in demand. So why not just extend production and keep building more? If commanders still value it so highly, if this kind of behind-the-scenes military strategy interests you, let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. The answer comes down to the changing nature of modern warfare itself. Military planners are no longer just thinking about fighting groups without serious air power. They are preparing for the possibility of conflict with nations that have real, modern militaries, strong radar networks, and long-range missile systems. In that kind of environment, a slow, non-stealthy aircraft like the Reaper becomes a much easier target, no matter how useful it has been in the past, because of this shift. The Pentagon's Defense Innovation Unit recently opened a search for a completely new kind of replacement system. It is currently being called Massed Modular Aircraft. Rather than relying on a small number of very expensive, highly capable drones like the Reaper, the goal is to build large numbers of smaller, cheaper, more expendable drones. Military planners often call these attritable systems, meaning aircraft that can be lost in combat without creating a massive financial or strategic setback. Air Force Secretary Troy Mink has been clear that this is not going to be a simple one-for-one replacement. Speaking to lawmakers, he explained that the replacement for the Reaper will likely involve multiple different platforms working together, not a single aircraft trying to do everything the Reaper once did. That is a major shift in thinking, and it shows just how much warfare itself is evolving. At the same time, Air Force leadership has been very careful to say this is not an abandonment of the Reaper. General Charles Q. Brown, who served as Air Force Chief of Staff, said publicly that the MQ-9 remains extremely popular among combatant commanders in the field, and that it is not something the military can simply walk away from overnight. And that word, popular, is not an exaggeration. Ground commanders have relied on this aircraft for real-time surveillance and precision support for years. And that kind of trust does not disappear just because a retirement date has been set on paper. So here is where things truly stand today. The MQ-9 Reaper is not vanishing tomorrow. The current plan places its full retirement somewhere around the year 2035. Until then, the aircraft is expected to keep flying, keep supporting troops on the ground, and keep proving its worth in the missions it was built for. But its production has already ended. Its numbers are shrinking faster than expected, and its future role is being slowly, carefully handed off to a new generation of drone technology built for a very different kind of battlefield. This is not really the story of one aircraft failing. It is the story of a battlefield that has changed so much. Even one of America's most trusted and successful weapon systems has to evolve to keep up. And that says something important about how seriously the U.S. military takes staying ahead, rather than holding on to old technology simply out of habit. For almost 2 decades, the Reaper helped protect American lives by taking on the most dangerous jobs remotely, keeping our pilots and ground troops safer than they would have otherwise been. That is a legacy worth respecting, and it is one that will not be forgotten just because a new chapter is beginning. If you learned something new about how America's military is adapting for the future, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this content reach more people who care about the true stories behind our nation's defense, and we will keep bringing you the facts straight from the most reliable sources available.